What if silence after disrespect is strength, not surrender? What really happens when you refuse to react with anger? Can composure speak louder than rage? Staying silent after being disrespected isn't a sign of weakness, it's a reflection of inner strength and discipline. Far too often, people assume that if you don't respond immediately, if you don't fight fire with fire, then you're backing down, that you're afraid. But the truth is, reacting impulsively in the heat of the moment doesn't prove power. It simply shows that someone else has power over your emotions. When you let someone's words or actions pull you into rage, when they push you to snap, to explode, you've handed them exactly what they wanted: control over your peace. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone lose their temper after an insult? Did they appear strong, or did they seem out of control and reactive? The loudest voice in the room isn't always the strongest. The person who remains calm, who refuses to be emotionally manipulated, that's the one who truly holds power. Silence is not emptiness. It's discipline. It's strategy. It's power held back by choice. It's unsettling to those who expect a reaction. It forces them to sit with their own behavior, with no distractions, no drama to blame. There are people who will test you, provoke you, push your limits just to see if they can get a rise out of you. They want to disturb your peace because they've lost theirs. They want to drag you into their storm because it gives them a false sense of control. But when you choose silence, when you resist their chaos, you send a message louder than words. You don't have that kind of power over me. This isn't about suppressing how you feel. It's not about pretending you're okay when you're not. Of course you feel it, you're human. The question is, what do you choose to do next? Do you waste your energy trying to prove something to someone who doesn't even deserve your time? Or do you understand that not every fight is worth your effort? Those who are truly strong know this. Silence is unsettling to the unstable. It disarms those who expect resistance. It holds them accountable without giving them anything to twist. Some might argue, if I don't speak up, they'll think I'm weak. But here's the truth. When you know your worth, you don't need to prove it. The powerful don't need to shout. A lion doesn't need to remind the jungle who it is. It walks with presence, and the whole forest feels it. Likewise, when you carry yourself with purpose, when you move with certainty, you don't need to raise your voice, your energy speaks for itself. Silence is not avoidance, it's command. Hold that silence like a shield, not a cage, because in the next part, we'll explore why silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom that lets you control your story. Silence, in its most powerful form, isn't about avoidance, it's about discernment. It's about understanding this simple but life-changing truth. Your energy is not free. It's valuable, limited, sacred, and it should never be wasted on people who haven't earned the right to access it. Some arguments aren't worth your voice. Some words are nothing but bait. And when you can recognize that, when you choose not to take the bait, you win, without even stepping into the ring. The next time someone disrespects you, pause, take a breath, ask yourself, is this truly worth my energy? Does their opinion actually change your worth? Does their judgment define your identity? The answer, every single time, is no, because your value isn't written by someone else's words. Their disrespect doesn't belong to you, unless you choose to carry it. Choosing silence in that moment isn't letting them get away with it. It's making a powerful decision. A decision to guard your peace. A decision to protect your dignity. A decision to walk away stronger than you were before. Because sometimes silence speaks the loudest. And it says, you can't shake what's rooted. There's something you need to realize about disrespect. It's a trap. It's meant to pull you into a reaction, to rattle you, to make you lose composure. And the moment you take the bait, you've given them something precious, your energy. Every time you argue with someone who doesn't even respect you, every time you go back and forth with someone committed to misunderstanding you, you're giving away your fuel. Fuel you could have used to create, to grow, to build something meaningful. That's exactly what some people want. They have no interest in resolution, no desire to grow, no purpose but to pull you down to their level of chaos and smallness. But when you remain silent in the face of that disrespect, you deny them access, you cut off the power supply. Because energy is everything. It shapes your thoughts, influences your emotions, determines your direction, and you only have so much of it in a day. It's not an unlimited resource. So don't waste it explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Don't pour it into meaningless debates. Don't exhaust yourself reacting to every petty insult thrown your way. You've got dreams to chase, goals to reach, peace to protect, but you can't reach any of that if you're constantly drained, not by the weight of your mission, but by other people's dysfunction. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to thrive on conflict? Like they breathe chaos, they stir up trouble, ignite arguments, and then step back, just to watch the fire they started burn. They want your reaction, not because it solves anything, but because it gives them control. But when you choose stillness, when you respond with composure, you don't just withhold your words, you reclaim your power. You shield yourself from pointless emotional fatigue. You rise above battles that weren't meant for you in the first place. And make no mistake, there will always be people who test your limits, just to see if they can knock you off balance. But in part 3, we'll talk about what happens when you stop letting their words trigger your reaction, and start owning your peace like it's your greatest form of strength. Silence isn't surrender. It's a shield, and a sacred one. It doesn't mean you didn't notice the disrespect. It doesn't mean you weren't affected. It means you chose to rise above it, because your energy is too precious to spend on a momentary release. That's all a reaction truly is, temporary satisfaction. It might feel good for a few seconds to clap back, to let someone know they crossed the line. But what does it really achieve? Do they suddenly respect you? Do they apologize and change their behavior? Most of the time, no. They double down. They escalate. They use your words against you, twist your emotion into fuel for more conflict. But when you stay quiet, when you let your peace, your poise, your success speak louder than any comeback, you rob them of the very outcome they hoped for. You show them something far more powerful than words, that their noise has no impact on your reality. And slowly, they stop trying. Why? Because people only poke what reacts. When they get silence, no anger, no defense, no response, they're left with nothing. They're forced to sit with their own behavior. And eventually, they move on, not because they've changed, but because you refused to give them what they needed to keep going. Some will say, but I need to defend myself. I need to stand my ground. But hear this, self-respect doesn't always require confrontation. In fact, the highest form of self-respect is knowing what's worth your energy and what isn't. Not every insult needs a comeback. Not every jab deserves attention. Sometimes, the strongest move you can make is to deny someone the reaction they're so desperate for. So next time someone disrespects you, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Does this moment deserve my energy? If the answer is no, let it go. Protect your clarity, protect your spirit, protect your forward motion, because some fights are simply beneath you. And walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom in motion. Yes, people will talk. They'll throw shade, poke at your insecurities. say things meant to sting. And the temptation to fire back will always be there. To prove your worth, to show them who they're dealing with. But remember this, words are cheap, actions echo louder. Anyone can say anything, but very few can follow it up with results. So let him talk, let them gossip, let him assume. At the end of the day, what they say doesn't change your trajectory. What does? What you do. You don't need to argue with people about who you are. Your life, your growth, your work, your progress will say it louder and more clearly than any words ever could. You don't owe anyone a defense, especially those who were never qualified to judge you in the first place. Because while they're busy talking, you're busy building, and in the next part, we'll uncover a powerful truth. Why those who keep talking stay stuck, and those who stay focused rise. Disrespect, chaos, negativity, that's where most people get stuck. Caught in the cycle, lost in the noise, they respond to every jab. They argue back. They burn energy trying to prove something to people who aren't even listening. And while they're busy going back and forth, the ones who stay quiet, who stay focused, they're already halfway up the mountain. By the time the doubters even realize it, it's too late to catch up. That's the power of silence when it's paired with purpose. Silence is not surrender, it's strategy. There are people who will bait you, who will throw out insults, passive aggression, and petty drama, all in hopes of pulling you down to their level. But when you refuse to take the bait, when you stay focused on your path, you don't just win the argument, you erase the argument, because nothing silences noise like undeniable success. When you're too busy building, too deep in your own growth, too committed to rising, you don't have the time or interest for meaningless conflict. Think about the truly great ones, those who left a legacy, those who made history. They weren't scrolling through negativity. They weren't arguing with critics. They weren't defending themselves against every hater. They were busy creating. They let their work speak. They let results respond. That's the formula. That's the mindset. So don't waste your time trying to convince small minds of your greatness. Just be great. Let your consistency whisper louder than their noise. Let your discipline speak volumes. Let your results make the loudest noise in the room. Without saying a word, people always notice. They might pretend not to. They might try to belittle, distract, or doubt. But when they realize nothing shakes you, when they see you moving forward no matter what they throw your way, something shifts. They fall silent, not because they respect you yet, but because they don't know what to do with someone they can't control. Nothing is more confusing to the toxic and disrespectful than someone who refuses to react. Nothing is more humbling to them than realizing their words held zero power over your spirit. And when your results start to shine, when your growth becomes visible, when your peace remains unshaken, those same people will have no choice but to acknowledge what they once mocked. That's the beauty of silence. Not as a retreat, but as a discipline fueled by action. Let them waste their breath while you build your future. Let them talk while you rise. Because in the end, it won't be your words that prove them wrong. It will be your success. Disrespect has a way of making things feel personal. Someone says something cruel, dismissive, demeaning, and suddenly it cuts. The natural instinct is to snap back, to correct them, to make them see you for who you really are. But here's the deeper truth you need to carry with you. Disrespect is rarely about you. It's about them. It reveals their character, not your worth. And in part 5, we'll explore that truth even further. How the way people treat you is a mirror of their own unresolved pain, not a definition of your identity. The way people treat you is rarely a reflection of who you are. It's almost always a mirror of what's going on inside of them. A bitter heart will leak bitterness. An insecure soul will try to shrink others. And a person drowning in their own misery, they'll do whatever it takes to pull others into the same waters. That's not about you. That's never been about you. But if you start taking their disrespect personally, if you absorb their words like truth, you begin to carry a weight that was never meant to be yours. And the moment you do that, you surrender your peace to people who never deserved that kind of power. That's why silence is not weakness. It's strength under control. It's not that you didn't hear what was said. It's that you made a conscious choice not to participate in their dysfunction. When someone throws disrespect your way, and you respond with silence, you're not losing the battle. You're refusing to even step into a war that has no winner. Your silence declares, I see your chaos, but I will not let it live in me. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. People who disrespect others aren't seeking truth or understanding. They're seeking control. They want a reaction. They want to feel superior. They want to rattle your peace, so they don't have to face their own storm. But when you stay quiet, when you don't give them the outrage they expected, you hand them a mirror instead of a response. And that reflection, that's what they've been running from all along. Their own wounds, their own emptiness. They lash out not because they see you clearly, but because they're afraid of being seen themselves. That's why arguing with them is a trap. You're not going to educate someone who refuses to acknowledge their own brokenness. You're not going to get respect from someone who doesn't even respect themselves. The wisest thing you can do in moments like that is walk away, not in defeat, but in dignity. You weren't created to waste your life trying to prove your worth to small minds. You weren't placed on this earth to win over people who don't even know how to love themselves. You've got purpose. You've got calling. You've got a future far too meaningful to be interrupted by petty confrontations. So let him talk. Let him doubt. Let him stew in their own bitterness. Because their respect is not a requirement for your success. Their approval does not validate your growth. What matters is how you move forward, how you protect your peace, how you rise without needing to announce a single thing. So next time someone tries to drag you down, remember, it was never about you. It was always about them. You are not required to accept their baggage as your own. You don't have to carry their pain. You don't have to make space for their dysfunction. Stay quiet, keep your peace, and let him sit with the weight of their own words. Because at the end of the day, disrespect says more about the person giving it than the one receiving it. We're about to explore the most critical moment. That brief, emotional split second right after someone disrespects you. When your next choice can either protect your soul or cost you your peace. There's a moment that happens right after you've been disrespected, a split second when your pride flares up. And everything inside you wants to react. That moment feels like a crossroads, one path leading to an immediate response, the other leading to silence. Most people take the first path. They think that by reacting, by saying something sharp, by firing back, they're defending themselves. But the truth is, when you react emotionally, you're not proving your strength, you're handing over your control. Dignity isn't found in how loud you can get or how well you can argue. It's found in knowing when to walk away. It's found in refusing to be dragged into something beneath you. People will try to pull you into their negativity. They'll push your buttons, test your patience, and try to make you step out of character. And the second you do, you've already lost, because now you're no longer operating from a place of wisdom, you're playing their game. That's why silence is dignity. It's restraint. It's power. It's the ability to look at someone who's trying to provoke you and say, without a single word, You don't have that kind of control over me. And that's something most people don't understand. They think silence means weakness. They think if you don't respond, it's because you're afraid. But real confidence doesn't need to be announced. A lion doesn't need to roar to prove it's a lion. The loudest person in the room isn't always the strongest. The one who always has something to say, who always feels the need to prove themselves, who always has to have the last word, that's not confidence, that's insecurity. True strength is measured in how well you can hold yourself together when others are trying to tear you down. It's in how well you can walk away from a situation, not because you couldn't respond, but because you knew responding wasn't worth it. Some people will insult you just to see if they can get you to step out of character. They'll test your patience, throw words at you, hoping one of them sticks. And when you respond, when you react, they win. But when you refuse to give them what they want, when you hold your peace, when you refuse to match their energy, you take all the power back. They have nothing left to feed on, nothing left to hold over you. And the best part? When you walk away with your dignity intact, when you don't let them break you down, you stay in control of your own story. You're not defined by a moment of weakness. You're not remembered for losing your temper or saying something you regret. You're remembered for your composure, for your discipline, for the fact that you knew who you were enough not to let someone else dictate your actions. So the next time you're disrespected, don't think of silence as backing down. Think of it as rising above. Think of it as strength in its purest form. We'll delve into the critical moment, the decision point where you choose between reacting to defend your pride or maintaining your peace to continue your journey. This choice will shape your character and define your path forward. Standing firm in your confidence means you don't waste your strength on petty battles. It means walking away with your dignity intact, knowing that no matter what they said, you never stooped to their level. Because in the end, that's the real victory. There is tremendous power in patience, in letting time do what words never could. When someone disrespects you, the instinct is to react, to set the record straight, to demand an apology, to make him see what they've done. But here's the truth. Most people who disrespect you aren't looking for understanding. They're not interested in reason, in what's fair or right. They act from their ego, from their own insecurities, from a need to feel bigger by making someone else feel small. And when you react in that moment, you've already stepped into their world, a place ruled by chaos and emotion. You meet them at their lowest, and the moment you do, you lose control. The strongest response is no response. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you know time will say it for you. Nothing humbles a person more than being proven wrong by reality. Nothing silences a critic faster than watching the person they doubted rise higher than they ever imagined. When you protect your peace, when you don't waste energy on every insult, life will handle what you didn't address. People who throw disrespect your way expect a reaction. They expect anger, confrontation, defensiveness. They want to know they've gotten under your skin. But when you stay silent, when you refuse to feed their fire, it unsettles them. They're left alone with their own words, their own actions. No distraction, no excuse, just reflection. And in that silence, something powerful happens. They begin to hear themselves. They start realizing they went too far. They feel the weight of what they said. And you don't have to carry any of it. This isn't about letting things slide. It's about recognizing that not everything deserves your energy. Time exposes, time humbles, time reveals truth. And more often than not, the very people who disrespected you will one day find themselves standing in the pain they once tried to hand to you. But that's not your burden to bear. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't need to hope for karma. You just need to keep going. Keep your head high. Stay focused. Let your growth, your peace, and your success be the only response you ever give. There's an old saying, what goes around, comes around. And yes, they can talk all they want, underestimate you, look down on you, they can doubt you, they can throw stones. But what they can't do is stop what's meant for you. They can't undo the favor that's already on your life. They can't change the truth that everything they said you couldn't do, you're already on your way to doing. So stay quiet, not because you're weak, not because you're afraid, but because you understand something deeper. Time will do all the talking. And when it does, the same people who once doubted you will have no choice but to sit back and watch as you prove them wrong, without ever saying a single word. The highest form of strength is knowing when to stay silent. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to react to prove your strength. The world may be loud, people may judge, but you, with a steady heart and a grounded mind, have mastered the highest art, walking forward in silence, with dignity. Your silence is not weakness. It's a bold statement. I am strong enough not to lower myself to petty battles. And as you keep moving forward, step by step, day by day, your success will speak louder than any argument. Your calm will outshine every insult, and the light within you will silence every voice that once doubted you. So stay silent, and keep building. Let the only voice they hear be the results you created through unwavering self-respect and discipline. If this video resonated with you, hit the like button to help spread this message. Subscribe to Dr. G_Kresh_official Journey Success and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of inspiration. And drop a comment below. I choose powerful silence if you're ready to rise above the noise and walk in dignity. Thank you for watching until the end. Be strong, be grounded, and let your success do all the talking.